How's it going, folks? Recording another best ball draft. Got pick number 7 here. It's been a while since I've recorded one of these. Doing the Puppy2. I'm pretty busy working on some best ball strategy stuff as well as purchasing a condo. So, pick 7. I had this last draft actually. I ended up with Kelsey. Would not hate to have Kelsey again. So, a few things. What's going on in the best ball world? Well, everybody's taking wide receivers. That's happening. And we got to kind of figure out how to counteract that a bit. And I think pushing late quarterback is still the best way to do it, except that now a bunch of the casuals have jumped in. Like, there's a lot more casuals in Puppy 2 than there was in Puppy 1. And they love them, some quarterbacks. They're taking quarterbacks all over the place, all over ADP. Just going to take Kelsey again at 1-7. So quarterbacks are just really going very random, especially now that, like Wentz is undesirable. There's still, the Saints situation, which is unknown. The Texans situation, which is unknown. People seem to not want Jalen Hurts as much because of the Watson rumors, which I don't think are worth worrying about at this point. So quarterbacks, there's less of the ones that you want now, and people are taking them just randomly and screwing up your stacks and that kind of stuff. So what can we do to fight against this? I have actually been using a few strategies to kind of get away from being so stack sniped. And one of the things I've been doing is if I have a choice between two wide receivers, like just for example, Brandon Cooks and Jalen Waddle, that I actually have pretty close together. And earlier in the best ball season, I was taking more Cooks than Waddle, especially because like the rookie wide receivers just generally were falling later, so you could kind of play the ADP game. Plus, you were trying to not get too many of them, So last draft, I took Gibson to go with Kelsey, and I've been doing that like quite a bit. I have a lot of Gibson Kelsey teams, so I'm going to try to stay away from Gibson this time. I hope he just goes here, so I don't really have to think about it at all. Nice. Perfect. So we're going to choose between Metcalf and AJ Brown. I actually just checked my ownerships on these two, and I have less Metcalf, so I'm going to take Metcalf. So, getting back to what I was saying. So when you have a choice between like Brandon Cooks or Jalen Waddle, I've been taking Waddle lately because, it opens you up with the later quarterback that you can stack. Same thing with like Ruggs opens you up to Carr, but like Cooks doesn't open you up to anyone unless you want to take a shot on Watson or whatever, but that doesn't appeal to me at all. I have like 1 or 2 Watson shares I took when I desperately needed a third QB, and I was just like, eh. So I think I have two Watson shares that I've taken both in round 18. But yeah, so if you are choosing between 2 wide receivers you think are close, I think right now with what's going on in these drafts with the quarterback shenanigans, like there's just people drafting a lot of quarterbacks. They're drafting quarterbacks early. There's quarterback runs early. But the best way to fight this is to open yourself up to be able to take, more quarterbacks later. Like, make it easier for you to stack them later by taking a wide receiver that goes with a quarterback that you can get later on. So I haven't gotten any Darrell Henderson yet in this tournament. I think I'm gonna have to start, pushing him into round 4, which I was kind of railing against because it's been nice to get him, and I see people get him in round 5, and I keep thinking how nice that is, and then that doesn't happen for me. So it's kind of tough. I will have some interest in Swift or Dobbins. Around this 3-7, 3-8 area, I just like them much better than once the tier break and wide receiver comes. So, I think after Cooper, there's a tier break at wide receiver for me. At that point, I'd rather just switch over to Swift or Dobbins. I do think Robert Woods, is arguable for the higher tier. Like, if this is Allen and Cooper, I'm just going to take Swift. I realize, like, Swift's, like, absolute ceiling is, like, a very, like, low percentage outcome, but, like, his absolute ceiling is so high. Oof, nice. Well, now we don't have to, because we didn't get that tier break at wide receiver. So I really like, at the 3-7 and 3-8, I try to take, the wide receivers if I can. But, like, once a tier breaks past Cooper, I'm usually just going Swift or Dobbins. So we haven't taken any running backs yet. So this may be an interesting time for us to grab a round 4 Darrell Henderson. Which I admittedly don't love, but it's just so hard to get him in round 5 now. Where's his ADP now? Yeah, his ADP is almost that, the turn now. The 4-5 turn. We'll kind of look and see what's available to us. I do like making sure my first running back is like Dobbins, Swift, Montgomery, or Henderson when I'm going with these builds where I'm taking wide receivers a bit earlier. I haven't drafted Patrick Mahomes in like ages. They do have Kelsey on this team, so I'm either going to take Dobbins or Patrick Mahomes. This is tough. All right. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I want to do it. Oh, it's tough. Okay, taking Dobbins. Whew. It's been really hard to get Dobbins around 4 as well. So that's close. I do have just like a lot of Mahomes stacks from early on in basketball season when like the wide receiver ADP was much more reasonable. I know a lot of people like Henderson more than Dobbins at this point. If you've watched any of these videos, you know I am very, very high on Dobbins. I thought he was an absolute elite talent when I was scouting for Dynasty 2 years ago. I thought Dobbins, Taylor, and Swift were so far better than everyone else. Then Akers kind of showed up and maybe proved me wrong a bit, but I mean, I don't feel any differently today about the talent of Dobbins, Swift, or Taylor than I did then. Although I did start to feel a little worried about Taylor last year, but I think that had to do with the power run scheme at Wisconsin as opposed to the zone run scheme the Colts ran. I think he just wasn't getting it. So Mahomes goes down at the 4-11. Just like the real problem with taking Mahomes, things that were running through my mind that I didn't have time to say at the point was I was looking at DK Metcalf and Amari Cooper, and it's like those are already guys where you can just get like, I really like the value you can get on Dak right now in drafts, and really like the value that you can get on Russ Wilson in drafts. So like, it wasn't just that I was missing out on Dobbins if I were to take Mahomes there, but I'm also cutting myself off from getting really good value on Dak or Russ. Wide receivers are flying fast and furious. This should be Deontay Johnson, and then we get to make our pick. Is Deontay Johnson. Well, we're definitely not going to take a quarterback. We're not going to take a tight end. So it's wide receiver, running back. All right, I'll take ETN. Pretty high on the upside of ETN. Can consider Dak with our next pick. I might prefer to wait for the value of getting Russ Wilson a little later. Could also take like a Debo or something to open up a chance at a stack of Trey Lance. Do wish Deontay Johnson would have fallen one more spot there. That would have been really nice for us. Aaron Rodgers at 5'9". If he plays as well as he did last year, that'll pick will be fun. Shocking, still like no Lamar or Kyler off the board. So this draft is kind of back to the old school amount of wide receivers here as they're really getting hammered. Pretty excited to get Debo there. Was who I was kind of hoping was going to come back when I took Etienne. I was basically looking at the wide receivers on the board. I thought I liked Debo about as much as the other guys that went. And I think Debo will make it back, so that's why I went running back instead of picking a wide receiver there. This could be a 4 or 5 running back build. Remains to be seen. We're only going to take 2 tight ends, and we're probably not going to take our next tight end until the last 2 rounds. I really like Dan Arnold in the last 2 rounds. If I miss on him, I'm fine taking like Zach Ertz or Tyler Kroft or someone like that. So I'll probably look in round 17, see if Dan Arnold's there, and then like kind of look at the wide receivers or whatever other position I'm drafting. Nice thing is if we get Kelsey and we end up with Russ Wilson, we can go with a 2 QB, 2 tight end build. So the last team I drafted was 2, 4, 10, 2. So I like being able to get 9 or 10 wide receivers, which it looks like will be the case in this draft if things go according to plan. 5 picks away. I mean, QB ADPs even are just like shooting up. I don't understand this. I guess it's just the casual players that are really driving it. But that hurt a little bit. All right. Okay. We'll take Dak at the 7.7. Not sure exactly how Dak's falling when it seems like all other quarterbacks are rising. People, I guess, are just that worried about his shoulder tendonitis or whatever he's got going on. I mean, it's slightly concerning, but I don't see why he should be falling this far in drafts. We're going to have to pretty much like hammer wide receivers now. Cannot take any more detours for quite some time. cut to that. Should be pretty comfortable with like Cooks, Landry, Mooney, Elijah Moore. I'll take Cooks here. Take Mr. 1,000 yards. Tempted to take Elijah Moore because I think he's probably like has the highest ceiling, but I also have like Infinity Elijah Moore from when he was very cheap. It's one of the guys that was on very, very early, so I just have tons and tons and tons of him. Now that the price has gotten up so high, it's a little bit hard for me to want to pay it. So really don't need to draft anything like but wide receivers for a while. We can kind of take like a look at running back, when it comes around to us if we want to. But it doesn't look like there's anything super exciting there for a while. AJ Dillon's like ADP has also like gone up quite a bit. Was a guy I like loved, but I'm starting to just balk at what the price has become. There's a couple wide receivers I'd really like to get to us. Don't think that they will. I also don't mind a couple of the guys a little bit further down, and Marvin Jones and Rondale Moore. Probably going to look to take my second quarterback pretty late, seeing that I have Dak. Actually, I've been able to get Michael Pittman shares now that he's not insanely expensive. Could go for like Pollard or Jarwin at some point in this draft to try to get some extra Dak pieces going. But Jarwin would have to fall to me at a pretty good value for that to happen because of Kelsey. This is going to be an easy pick for me. I'm either taking Bateman or AJ Dillon. Taking Bateman. Pretty excited that he was still there for us. Pretty big fan of Bateman. 8 picks away, we will definitely not be getting AJ Dillon, but that's alright. So we're not like super far behind at wide receiver, considering we've got like elite quarterback, elite tight end, very decent running back start. We're like doing just fine at wide receiver here. When you consider all that, we have like a solid wide receiver 1, a wide receiver like 1 and 2 type, and then like Debo and Brandon Cooks are both kind of like wide receiver 3-4s. I think we're doing pretty good. Pollard off the board. Do have to remember not to take Gus Edwards because he's like one of the guys I really like. Nice. Okay, we're gonna get another wide receiver we are interested in at this pick. Ooh, Corey Davis or Ron Dale. think I'll take Corey Davis. I don't take him all that often. And AJ Green already went, but Christian Kirk's a nice value a little later on. It's probably going to be a 5 running back build, especially since, we're only going to be taking 2 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends. Do we have any stack options for late quarterbacks? Just kind of Corey Davis with Zach Wilson. Just curious who the Jets happen to play week 7. Really doesn't make much difference. Piques my curiosity. I know Zach Wilson plays Dallas or Houston week 12 because I paired him with Mahomes and Murray quite a bit. Ugh. Plays the Patriots in New England. That's a grotesque one. So we're 6 deep at running back. Melvin Gordon's still a guy I'm higher on than most, to people. People seem to think there's only one outcome for Melvin Gordon, which is not really correct. When you're comparing Melvin Gordon to someone like Alex Madison, right? It's possible Javonte Williams gets hurt at some point this year. And Melvin Gordon probably going to start the year as the starter. So does he not have the same injury upside, yet also have a better chance to just either keep the role or stay involved as opposed to a guy like Madison that won't be very involved if Dalvin Cook is healthy? Just seems like people are just completely out on Melvin Gordon, and I don't totally understand it. I do understand it to some degree, but I just feel like his ADP is appropriate. Basically his ADP is ignoring the fact that he has an upside. Ignoring the fact that things can break his way. So we'll take him here. It's fine with me. Don't really need to consider quarterback anytime soon, that's for sure. So pretty much every draft I take Bryan Edwards now. So I don't think there's any way that Bryan Edwards can be good because last year I took him a ton. Had 30% Bryan Edwards in the last 2 rounds, and it didn't work out very well for me. Also had 30% T. Higgins in the last 3 rounds because he was going more in 16, 17. That one did work out pretty well for me. So remember, we do not want Gus Edwards in this draft. I wouldn't mind Devin Singletary, but I don't think I really want to take him this round. We know who I want to take this round. The man that will end me. I have multiple dynasty shares as well of Bryan Edwards. I don't know what my problem is. He's probably definitely not as good as I think he is. So this squad is looking pretty decent. That value on Dak was absolutely insane. We could look at Jarwin, but like I said, he's gonna have to like fall to like round 15, 16 before I can consider taking Jarwin. Oh yes. Oh yes, we will. We will take our 1,000th share of Ryan Edwards. Tons and tons of upside with Bateman and Edwards. A little bit with Corey Davis. Tons of Debo if he were to ever stay healthy, which probably is not a realistic thing that can happen. So we kind of like glance at running back this next round if we want to. If we're gonna go 5, then I definitely don't mind getting Madison. I don't mind Madison as my 4th running back in a 4 running back build, but then I'd have to have a more solid 3 than these 3. Like if I had 3, like I've done a few drafts where I had 3 like I went like apps like hyper fragile, like 3 in the first 5 rounds, and then didn't draft a running back for quite a long time, and then around 15, Madison somehow was still there, and then got him. And I don't mind him as a 4th RB and a 4 RB build in that case, but we're not strong enough at running back to grab him and then only stop at 4. We would probably need to add one more. Just like a pass catcher or whatever that could help us get by a few weeks if we need. Paris Campbell's pretty much dead. I mean, nobody really seems to want him anymore. I still don't mind these Colts guys that much. I mean, I'm pretty out on T.Y. Hilton, but now that Pittman and Paris Campbell are getting a little cheaper, I'm pretty into them. I like Christian Kirk here, but I think I could probably get somebody similar later, and I have quite a bit of Christian Kirk. Still probably not even like too interested in quarterback. I'll just grab like Carr or Zach Wilson later on. I think back when I looked through the schedules, like that I preferred Carr's with the week 7 guys and Zach Wilson with the week 12 guys. I am going to take the upside of Madison with this pick. Something were to happen to Cook, and we're off to the races. I am going to try to sprinkle in one more pass catcher with this group, maybe like a McKissick or James White, one of those types. I guess there was Jamal Williams too. I just, with that Detroit offense, I just don't see it at the upside as much as like a Madison. Jameis Winston around 13. I think that guy may have been able to get him later. Could be wrong there. Get a Crowder on the way back if he's still there to set up a double stack for Zach Wilson if we want Zach Wilson. Don't really like Crowder that much, and he's a guy I have kind of a lot of. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a guy I've been trying to kind of take a few shares of just because I didn't take him much for the longest time. There's Hines and McKissick that are kind of interesting pass-catching running backs. Still, I'm not looking at quarterback until around 15 or 16 at the earliest. McKissick. I have, 20% Antonio Gibson, so definitely good to get some McKissick in there. Again, tight end is one I'm really going to wait super long time on. Have Kelsey. That should block any other tight end for most of the weeks he plays, so. I've gotten to the point now where I've really started to focus on point blocking and trying to keep the avenues open. That's why, I'm sort of trying to keep pace with the zero RB type of guys or the crazy wide receiver drafters. I'm kind of trying to keep pace with them while also just getting a little bit more at running back than those guys get. Just because, my theory is they're going to point block themselves at wide receivers to some degree. So if you can kind of be doing what they're doing, which I think is the best, general strategy, but maybe, just pull it back a bit from where they are, then you're in, the sweet spot. Still some pretty decent wide receivers on the board. I mean, not super intriguing, but I wouldn't mind getting one of the top 3 guys or Callaway. Or a Nico Collins or someone like that. Although I think you probably wait around for him. I guess it's probably time for us to see what's available at quarterback. Some of these drafts get kind of wild. Could try to get a Darnold combo going. I do think since we've made this bet on Brian Edwards, that Carr probably makes a lot of sense for us. We have 2 guys in a row here with 1 quarterback, so we're going to see what goes on with them. Take St. Brown. Takes Baker. There's a guy behind us with 1 quarterback. 2 guys behind us with 1 quarterback. I'm getting slightly sketched out by what's been happening in these drafts. Kind of hope Tyrell Williams doesn't get picked here. Nice. So we're going to take Tyrell Williams. Now if even just absolute disaster happens at quarterback to us, we can just get Goff to go with Tyrell Williams. Which is not something we want to do, but even if all the quarterbacks we were kind of more interested in are gone, then we can fall back to that. So how are we feeling about this team? We've got Dak and someone. Feels pretty good, especially getting Dak 16 spots behind ADP. Dobbins, Etienne, Melvin Gordon, Madison, and McKissick. Feel pretty good about that one. Kind of hoping, Melvin Gordon helps us out in the early game, and then for this team to win the whole thing, there'd probably have to be a Dalvin Cook injury. Then Madison could take us home on the other end of this pairing. Wide receiver is really good. It's not elite. It's not gonna be one of the best wide receiver groups in these type of rooms where wide receivers go so fast. But this wide receiver group can definitely fight against those guys. And, we've got our big advantage at tight end. Probably still not looking to take another tight end. I would have interest in Komet or Jarwin if they made it to us. I guess maybe even Hooper. But how many wide receivers are we at? 8. Okay. So this is officially the point where I would actually take Jarwin if he was to make it to us. I don't really think he'll make it to us. But I also have to like keep an eye on quarterback and see where we are at for that. We pick again. This guy in front of us only has one tight end and one quarterback. There's only one person behind us that only has one quarterback. Assume this guy takes a tight end. Okay. One Derek Carr. Probably have to take Derek Carr. Take Jarwin. Alright. See what happens. See if we're ending up with Jared Goff on our team. We'll find out the not too distant future. So we've got Jarwin and Cooper now to go with Dak. So yeah, if tragedy does strike, we can take Goff. Unless he's gone too, in which case then we're super fucked. But let's find out. We'd like one of Daniel Jones or Carr to make it to us. If neither of those things happen, then we would go with Sam Darnold. If he is also gone, then we are stuck with Goff as our QB2. I'm guessing you are unlucky. He's going to take a QB. Who is he taking? He has Mahomes. That's why he's waited so long. I like that guy's team quite a bit. It's nice. Don't like Hollywood Brown, but don't like T.Y. Hilton. But, whatever. Let's see. ZV is going to take some more quarterbacks. Yep. There's number 5 for him, Daniel Jones. And see if he takes yet another. Oh, no, this poor guy is the guy with Christian McCaffrey. Oh, you hate to see it. A Christian McCaffrey team lit on fire. Good news for us, though. Makes that league a little easier to win if McCaffrey stays healthy. All right, what are our contingency plans at quarterback if something happens where Goff is gone? I guess we could take Carson Wentz because he's supposed to be ready kind of early in the season. So we wouldn't just be like completely screwed at quarterback. You are unlucky. It does not take a second quarterback. That's strange. So there's still... Okay, that was bad for us. But not disastrous just yet. Okay. So if I am forced to take Wentz, I'll probably take like Zach Pascal. Because I think right now I'd go Darnold and then maybe Wentz and then Carr. Darnold and then Wentz and then Goff. But I don't know, I might take Goff over Wentz. Cool, we'll just take Darnold. Naked Darnold is fine. There really just isn't anyone else to stack with him. So last round we will grab up another wide receiver. So that was interesting. We could have taken Carr and not ended up with Jarwin. Or maybe if we took Carr, we would have got Jarwin. I felt like we had a better chance of getting Carr back than we did Jarwin. We probably needed the guy with 4 quarterbacks, not to take a 5th. So I think that was a pretty reasonable gamble. I also have like new Sam Darnold, so I don't hate getting a share there. Wide receiver, I'm looking at Nico. I'm looking at Tony. Anthony Miller. Haven't really taken much Van Jefferson or Olamide. So those are some guys I could consider. I am leaning towards one of the rookies, though. Cool. I will be taking a rookie here. Whether it be Nico or Tony. Tony, so we'll take Nico. Sweet. So we've got Dak and Darnold, Dobbins, Etienne, Gordon, Madison, McKissick, DK Metcalf, Amari Cooper, Debo, Brandon Cooks, Rashad Bateman, Corey Davis, Brian Edwards, Tyrell Williams, Nico, and we have Kelsey and Jarwin. That was a pretty fun one. That'll do it for this one, and good luck in your drafts, folks.